Begin today the next Perek, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, Perek Revi of Masechta Sotah. Here in this Perek we're going to discuss the various different cases where the halachas of Sotah do not apply fully. That for various different reasons, the woman that she's married to, who she's married, or herself, the halachas of Sotah don't fully apply. Sagt Heilige Mishnah, Arusa v'shemeres yavam. A woman that's married, but she's only an arusa, which is the first stage of marriage before she's fully living with her husband. So if her husband warns her, the kinoi, the warning, and then she goes and she's secluded with another man, or shemeres yavam. Shemeres yavam, her husband died without children, and she has to get married to her husband's brother, but she didn't get married to him yet. She's anticipating, she's waiting for this marriage. And in that time period, her yavam warns her, don't go have a relation with another man, and she went and she did, or she secluded with him. And now the question is, do we apply the halachas of Sotah or not? Says the Mishnah, loy says, but v'loy noitlis ksuba. On one hand, she does not drink the waters of the Sotah, but at the same time, though, because she's now also to live with her husband, the isser that there is for her to live with her husband does apply, and therefore the fact that the husband divorces her, she has no rights to get a ksuba. So the Mishnah brings the source for this, that the halacha of Sotah does not apply here. Shenemar asher siste isha tachas isha. Only a woman that's tista, that she goes off the path, that she does this foolish thing, but if she has to be tachas isha, she has to be married to her husband. The sarusa and shemeres yavam are both not living together with their husband. So therefore, prat la arusa v'shemeres yavam, this excludes both of these cases. But at the same time, though, what the Mishnah is saying over here is true. The halacha of Sotah, that she drinks the waters, will not apply. But the halacha of a Sotah, that she becomes usher to live with her husband because of her behavior, that does apply. And therefore, actually, Rashi over here brings that regarding a shemeres yavam, there's a machlokes about this. It was mentioned earlier in the Masechta that by a shemeres yavam, it's possible that she still could go marry her yavam. But the halacha that she loses her ksubah, that for sure applies it, that she's going to lose her ksubah. Because if you're going to say that she becomes usher to live with her husband, so the fact that her husband has to divorce her, she caused it. If the divorce is something that is her fault, she caused this, she can't come and demand from her husband the ksuba. You're causing this by your behavior, and that's why I'm forced to divorce you. Why should I pay you the ksuba? And even if the halacha is by the shemeres yavam that she's allowed to go back to her husband, but nevertheless, the yavam says, I'm not interested in living with such a wife that's playing around and goes with this other man after I warned her. So he could still argue and say, even though technically it's allowed for me to live with her, but I don't want to. And therefore, she's giving her a get, and he can say, I managed to pay you the ksuba. This is all caused by your behavior.
Also, it could be a few,
Could be
a few brothers.
Could be a few different brothers by a shemeres yavam. She's not like really connected to him. Okay, I hear. Right, okay. Another case, Dr. Mishnah, Alman el Kohen Gadol, if an Alman is married to a Kohen Gadol. So here the Mishnah gives examples of women that are married to a husband and they're not even allowed to be married to him. An Alman is married to a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to marry an Alman. Or a Grusha v'chalutza l'Kohen Hedyot, a Grusha or a Chalutza, a Kohen Hedyot may not marry. A Grusha is a Isser min HaTorah. A Chalutza is only Isser min D'Rabbanan, that's similar to a Grusha. Or a Mamzeres and the Sinili Yisrael, a Mamzeres, which is born from a not good relationship, that's a mamzeres, or an asina, is from the time period when Yidden came into Eretz Yisrael. There were the Gevainim that were Megayer, and they weren't Megayer properly, and therefore David HaMelech was geyser on them that they should become water carriers and that they should be also to marry into Klal Yisrael. That's Rashi's opinion. Rashi brings us in a few places here in Yuvamis that the Isser of an Asina that came from that nation that converted, they converted. Technically they were Gaidim, but because they didn't convert with the proper motives, so David HaMelech was geyser that they should not mix into Klal Yisrael. Taisus, however, holds that the Isser of an Asina to marry into Klal Yisrael is the Isser min HaTorah, and it's learned from a pasuk Leitis Chaten Bam, because they come from the 7 nations in Eretz Yisrael. Even after the Megayah, they may not marry into Klal Yisrael. Yes, so the point is again that these are all situations of women that are also they're also to live with their husband. Or Bas Yisrael, a regular Bas Yisrael that's married to Lamamzer, married to a Mamzer also, she's not allowed to marry a Mamzer. Or Lenosan, or to a Nosan, again that comes from this nation, from the Gevainim. So Lo Isha says they don't drink the waters of the Ksuba, of Sotah, that is. And the reason for that is, Rashi here brings the pasuk that the waters of the Sotah only applies to a wife that's allowed to live with her husband. The pasuk says, you look here at Rashi, the third line from the top, Kisiste Ishtai. Ishtay means a wife that's fit to live with you. So then, when this happens, that she goes and she secludes with someone else, the kinoi, the stira, then she drinks the waters of the Sotah. But if she can't be ishtay, she's not allowed to be living with you, so then the halacha of drinking the waters of the Sotah doesn't apply. But at the same time, though, the husband is divorcing her, v'loy noitlis ksuba. She will not get a ksuba. And the point remains the same, because right now, when the husband is divorcing her, it's her behavior that's causing the fact that the husband is divorcing her. So the husband turns to her and says, why should I give you the ksuba? You don't get the ksuba if the divorce here is being caused by your bad behavior. Right? Even though, you might think, Almanata Kain Gadol, and Almanata Kain Gadol should never get a ksuba. She's not supposed to be married to him in the first place. The marriage takes effect. Torah says they're not allowed to be married, but if they're married, the marriage al pi Torah does take effect. So you may think she should never get a ksuba, but that's not the halacha. Rashi here brings from the Gemara in Ksubis that an almana l'kain gadol, for example, when the husband divorces her, he has to give her a ksuba, even though he's not supposed to be married to her. But nevertheless, over here, once this almana l'kain gadol now misbehaves in this way, and that's why the husband is divorcing her, over here, she's no better than any other woman that because of her misbehaving, her husband divorces and she gets no ksuba, she also gets no ksuba. Now the following cases, loy shaisais, they don't drink the waters of the Sotah, and also v'loy noitlis ksuba, and they don't take the ksuba either. And here, this is a few cases, we had this before already, some of these cases, where she's a regular marriage to her husband, but nevertheless, the halacha of drinking the waters of the Sotah does not apply, but she still won't get her ksuba. Ha'imeres tmeyani, if she admits that she became tamei, she secluded with this man and she did an aveda. V'shabala edim she tmeya, edim came and testified that she's tamei. Or v'ha'imeres eini sheisa, she refuses to drink from the waters of the Sotah. So in such cases, again, the point here is, so she's not going to drink the waters of the Sotah, but at the same time, the fact that the husband is divorcing her is caused by her bad behavior, and therefore he doesn't have to give her the ksuba. Now, oh my baila, what if the husband comes and says, Eini mashke, I don't want to give you to drink the waters of the Sotah, I don't want to go through this. Right? Although the woman only drinks the waters of the Sotah, the husband has to bring her. The husband has to agree to this. So if the husband is the one that says, I don't want you to drink the waters of the Sotah, or v'shabayla ba aleh baderech, the husband, after this whole story of her becoming into this situation of a Sotah, then the husband still has a relationship with her, and he's not allowed. The waters of the Sotah only works if the husband stays separated from her from after she is this woman in this situation of a Sotah. So then, in such a case, who's causing that the woman over here can't drink the waters of the Sotah? Who's causing the fact that she's going to have to be divorced? The husband. So therefore, naitlois ksuba, she is going to get the ksuba when the husband divorces her, v'loy shaises, but she can't drink the waters of the Sotah. So the point is, again, it's if whoever causes it, if she causes the fact that she has to be divorced, she gets no ksuba. If the husband causes it, so then she does get a ksuba. What happens? A woman, she's a Sotah, but before she came to drink the waters of the Sotah, her husband passed away. So what happens now? Usually an almana collects money of a ksuba. So this Sotah, does she collect the money of the ksuba or not? Beishamai says, Noitlois ksuba. Yes, she does collect the money of the ksuba as an almana, just like every almana that collects the money of the ksuba. V'loi shaisais. But she does not drink the waters of the Sotah. After her husband passes away, the husband has to bring her. If he's not alive, then she can't drink the waters of the Sotah. But she still gets her ksuba. Beis Hillel says, no, she does not get. Or she drinks the waters of the Sotah, or she does not take her ksuba. What Beis Hillel is really saying is that since she cannot drink the waters of the Sotah, her husband passed away, while she was in this status of a Sotah, she does not have the rights to collect her ksuba. Okay, we'll see. The Gemara will explain this machlekes here. Why? Over here, it's not so clear to understand, because up until here, the Mishnah was basically saying a rule. It depends who caused this, that she's getting divorced. Is the husband causing it, or is she causing it? Over here, on one hand, it's her bad behavior. On the other hand, the husband just passed away on her. So we'll see. The Gemara will explain the basis of the machlekes from a different angle. Weiter, the Mishnah says, other cases, mu'uberes chaveirei u'minekes chaveirei. A woman that was pregnant from someone else, or she had a baby and she was nursing from someone else. Now the halacha is this woman that was married to someone else and she has a baby that she's nursing, or she's pregnant to give birth to a baby, she's not supposed to get married to someone else for 24 months. until after she finishes nursing this baby. So she should give the attention to this baby properly, that what he needs, 2 years, 24 months that he has to nurse, that the baby has to nurse from the mother. But what happens if this woman went and got married to this man before that time period that she was supposed to wait? So in such a case, lo ishaisais, she does not drink the waters of the Sotah. Why not? Because she's not supposed to be married to him at this time. Similar to what we said before. A woman that's not supposed to be married to her husband does not drink the waters of the Sotah. But at the same time, because her husband is going to be divorcing her based on her bad behavior, so therefore she causes this, she doesn't get the ksuba. Divrei Rab Meir. This is Rab Meir's opinion. The Chacham disagree and say, no, yachal hu lafrisha, hu lachzira lachazman. This is a woman that the husband, and now presently in this time period, within those 24 months, when she has that baby that she's nursing from a previous marriage, so the husband would have to separate for that time period, but then he could remarry her afterwards, or he could live with her afterwards. So therefore, you can't compare this to the cases that we had before here in the Mishnah regarding an almana to the Kohen Gadol or the grusha to the Kohen Hedyot, where they're not allowed to be married to each other at any time. Over here, she is in essence fit to be married to this man. So therefore, the halacha of drinking the waters of the Sotah still does apply. Now, an islandess, a man that marries a wife, and she's an islandess. Islandess is a woman that cannot give birth from the first place. A zekena, or she's old and she can't give birth. Or for whatever other reason, something that she did, not maybe she wasn't born as an islandess, but for whatever other reason later she can't give birth. So now the halacha is a person is supposed to get married to do the mitzvah of peri v'ribya. If his wife can't give birth, so he's not supposed to be married to her, he's supposed to marry someone else. So therefore, so on one hand, because of her bad behavior, which is causing this divorce, so she does not get the ksubah, but also she doesn't drink the waters of the Sotah, because the husband's supposed to marry someone else to have children. Rabbi Eliezer disagrees, and he says, no, yachalhu lisa isha cheres v'livres v'lirbes heimena. The fact that he's married to her and she can't have children, that doesn't mean that he must divorce her. He could continue, she could be his wife, and he could marry a second wife and have children from a second wife. So she's allowed to live with him as long as he finds a way, marries someone else to have children. So therefore, she's mutter to live with him. Then the halacha of a Sotah she applies that is, that she drinks the water of the Sotah. Now, Vishar Kol Anoshim, the Mishnah here says, all other women, the rule always is, Oy shaisais, oy loy noitles ksubah. Or she drinks the waters of the Sotah, and if she's not drinking the waters of the Sotah, and now because of this her husband is divorcing her, she does not get the Sotah. She does not get the ksubah, rather, that is. It's not so clear. Taisus over here asks that this line of the Mishnah seems to be extra. It's sort of saying something that we understand already from what the rules that the Mishnah already said before. Okay. Weiter sagt the Mishnah, Eishes Kayin, the wife of a Kayin. So Shaisa, she does drink the waters of the Sotah. It applies even if the husband is a Kayin. What's the chiddush in this? Why would you think that it does not apply by the Kayin? The Gemara will explain. Umuteres labayla, and after she drinks from the waters of the Sotah, she'll be mutter to go back to her husband, the Kayin. Eishes Sris, if she's the wife of a man that can't give birth. Shaisa, she also drinks the water of the Sotah. That will also be explained in the Gemara. Al Yidei, sagt the Mishnah, Al Yidei kol arayis mekanen. That when a person warns his wife, don't go seclude with that man. That includes even if she's saying to him not to be secluded with a man that's an ervet to her, a man that's a relative, and that's an isser for her to be secluded with him. The halacha of Sotah applies there as well. The Gemara will also explain what's the chiddush in this. Why would I think that it shouldn't apply here? Now, when does the halacha of a person warning a woman not to go with somebody not apply? Chutz min hakotten. If a husband warns his wife not to have a relationship, not to be secluded with a cotton, then it does not apply. Umimi she'ena yish, or someone that's not a man. The Gemara will explain that this refers to a behemoth. Then in such a case, the halacha of Sotah does not apply. Sagt the Mishnah weiter, ve'elu shebezdin maknin lahen. And here are the cases that the husband cannot warn his wife. So the bezdin will go ahead and warn his wife not to go and have a relationship with this man. Mishan is charish baila. If the husband becomes a cheresh in the Mishnah usually means a deaf and mute, and oy nishtata, or he loses his mind altogether, oy shahaya chavish beveisa asurin, or this person was in a prison, so he's not, his wife her husband is away, and she's doing all kinds of things. And here, in such a case, the Bezdin has to step in to warn the wife to behave. Now, the Mishnah clarifies, what does this mean? When the Bezdin warns the wife, does that mean that we can follow through with the halachas of the Sotah, that after she'll be warned, and then she doesn't listen, if she is secluded with this man, then we're going to have to give her to drink the waters of the Sotah? Says the Mishnah, no. Loi la'ashkaisa amru. The fact that the Bezdin is warning her is not because we could then follow through that she'll drink the waters of the Sotah. El lepaisla miksubasa. This is that if she won't listen, and then the husband will be forced to divorce her, so then she will not get the ksubah. But not that the halacha of drinking the waters of the Sotah does not apply here. As Rashi brings over here, the halacha of drinking the waters of the Sotah only applies behavior ishas ishtai. The man has to bring, the Bezdin can't bring the woman to drink. And even if, for example, this man gets freed from prison, and he finds out that the Bezdin warned his wife, still, according to the first opinion here in the Mishnah, the woman, the husband, cannot bring his wife to drink the waters of the Sotah because the Bezdin had warned her. The husband has to warn her, v'kinei and v'hevi. He warns her and then he brings her. But if he didn't warn her, if the Bezdin warns her, even if he gets freed from prison, he cannot bring her. But Rabbi Yossi argues on that point, and he says, when the Bezdin warns her, so then it would be possible that she would have to drink the waters of the Sotah. And when is that? If the husband gets freed from prison, so then he can bring her. So Rabbi Yossi agrees that the Bezdin themselves, that is, cannot bring this woman to drink the waters of the Sotah, but the husband could. The husband didn't warn her, it doesn't matter. The Vikine can be through Bezdin as well. But and then when the husband gets freed, he'll be able to bring her to the Beis HaMikdash to drink the waters of the Sotah. Sotah Gemara, going back to the case in the beginning where it spoke about the Sotah, the Arusa and the Shemeres Yavam. So the Gemara says, what does the Mishnah say? Mishtahu d'leishasya. She doesn't drink the waters of the Sotah. And that the Mishnah brought the halacha for that. It has to be tachas isha. They're not tachas isha. They're not living with their husband. But the other aspects of the halach of the Sotah, that the husband by an arusa or the yavam by a shemeres yavam, that he warns her, that does apply. He warns her, and then there could be a kinui and a stira, and what will that cause? That will cause that she will lose her ksubah. That does apply. From where do we know this? Why don't we say that the whole concept of a Sotah doesn't apply at all? So the answer is the Tan Rabbanan we learned in the Braisa. Daber al bnei Yisrael va'amarta aleim. In the beginning of the parsha of the Sotah, it says va'amarta aleim, which is extra words. It says Daber, speak to the Yidden. Why does it say again va'amarta aleim? L'rabbis arusa b'shemeres yavam l'kinoi. This is coming to add and say that also an arusa and a shemeres yavam is included in the halach of the Sotah, at least to some extent. It's included regarding the fact that the kinui, the warning, and then if she gets secluded and she loses a ksubah, regarding that it applies. But regarding drinking the waters of the Sotah, it does not apply, not for an arusa and not for a shemeres yavam. Okay, now the Gemara continues and focuses on the other point, that the Mishnah is telling you that both regarding the arusa and the shemeres yavam, the halacha of drinking the waters of the Sotah, that does not apply for both of them. So on that the Gemara says, Masnis and Mani, who is our Mishnah going? According to Rabbi Yonasan. It goes according to Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yonasan is the one that says that the halacha of the Sotah doesn't apply to both of them. Tanya, we learned in the Braisa machlokes about this. So the Braisa brings, it says in the pasuk Tachas Ishech, that the pasuk says V'im loisatis tumet Tachas Ishech. So Tachas Ishech means only under your husband, when you're living with your husband. Now this is not the same pasuk that the Mishnah brought. The Mishnah brought up the pasuk of Tachas Isha, which says at the end of the parsha of Sotah. But this is another pasuk that says earlier on Tachas Ishech. So this Braisa says from the pasuk of Tachas Ishech we learn out Prat l'Sotah. This excludes, Prat la'arusa that is. This excludes an arusa. What's the halach of an arusa? An arusa, because she's not fully married to her husband, it's only the first stage of marriage, so therefore the halacha of Sotah does not apply. Now, Yochel, I would think, Shani Moitze, Av Shemeres Yavam, I would think that I exclude a Shemeres Yavam as well. She's also not married to her Yavam yet. So the halacha of the drinking the waters of the Sotah should not apply. She's not Tachas Ishech. Talmud Laima, so Rabbi Yonasan says And again, sorry, this is not Rabbi Yonasan, this is Rabbi Yeshia. So Rabbi Yeshia here says, Talmud Loima, ish, ish. In the beginning of the parsha, the Sotah, it says twice, ish, ish. What does ish, ish mean? It comes to include a shemeres yavam, that a shemeres yavam will drink the waters of the Sotah. Divrei Rabbi Yeshia, this is Rabbi Yeshia's opinion. So basically, as the Gemara is soon going to explain, Rabbi Yeshia holds that there's a difference between an arusa and shemeres yavam. An arusa is not living with her husband yet. A shemeres yavam, even though the shemeres yavam is not living with the husband, but nevertheless, there's more of a connection between this woman that's anticipating the marriage with her yavam than the woman that's an arusa, that after the first stage of marriage, and she still lives in her father's house, and she's waiting to get fully married to her husband. So therefore, by the arusa, she's not tachas ishech, but by the shemeres yavam, she is considered to be tachas ishech. And we learn it out from the pasuk, ish, ish. So this is obviously not like our Mishnah. Our Mishnah said that arusa and shemeres yavam are both not going to drink the waters of the Sotah. Rabbi Yonasan says, tachas ishech, when the pasuk says tachas ishech, that's prat l'shemeres yavam. Where we start is, punkt verkehrt. The shemeres yavam, she's anticipating to get married to her yavam. That's most logical to say that she's not married at all yet to this yavam. She's just anticipating to get married to him. But she's not even married, not even the first stage of marriage. She's not married at all to this yavam. And she's sort of tied to him. She can't get married to anybody else, unless you do chalitza. So, but she's not married at all to him yet. So therefore, she's not at all tachas ishech. So there's no halacha of Sotah here. Then Rabbi Yonasan continues, Oitzi shemeres yavam v'loy oitzi esarusa. Maybe from the pasuk of tachas ishech, I would say that excludes only a shemeres yavam, but not the arusa. In other words, Rabbi Yeshia really holds the opposite of Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yeshia says, by an arusa, which is after the first stage of marriage, she has more of a connection to her husband. She's at least already tied to him, like she's an Eishes Ish, she's really married to him, even though she's still living in her father's house, but nevertheless, she's a real Eishes Ish. So maybe that should be considered to be that she's already tachas ishech, she's already married to him, and therefore the halacha of the Sotah should apply. So here, Rabbi Yonasan brings that there's a second pasuk, and this is what was quoted in our Mishnah. Talmud Loima asher tiste isha tachas isha. And that's prat larusa. This pasuk comes to exclude an arusa. Okay, so in other words, what the Braisa over here is saying is, and this is the opinion of our Mishnah, Rabbi Yonasan, there are two psukim to exclude. The first pasuk, tachas ishech, excludes a shemeres yavam, that she does not drink the waters of the Sotah, and the second pasuk of tachas isha, which was quoted in the Mishnah, that excludes the shemeres yavam, that excludes the arusa, that she doesn't drink the waters of the Sotah. Okay, so the Gemara now addresses over here the difference between Rabbi Yeshia and Rabbi Yonasan as far as these two types of women here, the shemeres yavam and the arusa. Who's more closely connected to her husband? Who would we say is more tachas isha? Two opposite svaras over here, right? Rabbi Yonasan said that the arusa is more connected to the. Who did I just say? Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yonasan says the arusa is more connected to the husband, and Rabbi Yeshia says no, the other way around. The shemeres yavam is more connected to her yavam. So what's the reasons for this argument here? This detailed argument. Says the Gemara, Mar Rabbi Yonasan alimele arusa. He says that the arusa is actually more connected to the husband, and it's more of a chiddush to say that she does not drink the waters of the Sotah. Why is that? The kedusha dida. Because number one, the husband was mekadosh her. She's already an Eishes Ish, he was mekadosh her. It's not a connection that comes from a brother that passed away. He was mekadosh her. And also, v'saiklin al yada, she's a full Eishes Ish. If she goes and has a relationship with someone else, she's chayiv skila. She has a status of an Eishes Ish, even though she's not living yet with her husband. So therefore, that's a much closer relationship than a shemeres yavam. But on the other hand, Umar, Rabbi Yeshi says, no, the opposite is true. Alimele shemeres yavam. He says the shemeres yavam is more closely connected to the husband. Why? Because there's a certain detail you find by a yavam that you don't have by an arusa, and that is the lemechsere mesire l'chuppah. You don't have the idea of a chuppah. When it comes to an arusa, right, there's two stages of marriage. First, as the Edison, you give the ring to the woman, or kiddushay kesef, and then she goes back, she lives in her father's house. The way it was in those times, she lives in her father's house even for a year time. And then when it comes to marriage, it has to be a proper mesira l'chuppah. Mesira l'chuppah means with the proper kavanah, he brings her into his home, and he has a relationship with her, l'shem nisuin, and then he gets married to her. By a yavam, it doesn't work that way. By a yavam, if the yavam has any kind of relationship with his wife, even without any kavanah, Even if it happens b'sheigig, even if it happens by mistake, he automatically is married to her. So what does that show? That shows that this Yavama is connected to the Yavam in a way, in a much stronger way. You don't need a proper Mesira L'chuppah. Any kind of bia, any kind of relationship that he's going to have with her, boom, he's married to her completely. So therefore, Rabbi Yeshia held that the Shemeres Yavam is closer connected to her Yavam than the Arusa, which still needs a whole ceremony of Mesira L'chuppah. Okay, now the Gemara gets back to explain the machlokes between Rabbi Yonasan and Rabbi Yeshia as far as the psukim that they brought. Rabbi Yonasan brought the pasuk of Tachas Ishech, but then also the pasuk of Ish Ish. Ish Ish is marbe. He said that Ish Ish is marbe, that a Shemeres Yavam will drink the waters of the Sotah. And that, but Rabbi Yonasan on the other hand brought two psukim. There's the pasuk of Tachas Ishech, and there's another pasuk of Tachas Isha. So now we have to explain what each opinion will explain, why he doesn't hold of the drasha of the other pasuk that the other opinion brought. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yonasan, according to Rabbi Yonasan, hi ish ish mayavetle. What does he learn out from this ish ish? If he doesn't learn from there to be marbe, that a shemeres yavam drinks from the waters of the Sotah, so what does he learn from there? Says the Gemara, mi boyale lerabais eshes cheresh ve'eshes sheita ve'eshes shemom. He learns from there, from ish ish, the halacha that we learned in the end of the Mishnah, all these kinds of cases. A wife of a cheresh, of a deaf mute, a wife of a person that's shaita, mentally deranged, or a shimum. Shimum was also some kind of a person that is also a shaita in some way. Rashi says timoin leiv. He can't warn his wife. He doesn't have that capacity to warn his wife. So we'll learn out from ish ish that nevertheless the halacha of kinui, of warning, does apply, that the bezdin will warn. That's what we learn out from ish ish according to Rabbi Yonasan. But not to be marbe, the halacha of Shemeres Yavam. On the other hand, Rabbi Yeshia, hi Tachas Isha, my Avidle. Rabbi Yeshia, he did not learn out from Tachas Isha that an Arusa will also not drink the waters of the Sotah. So what does he learn out from Tachas Isha? Says the Gemara, mi boyale, he learns out from Tachas Isha something else. Lahakish ish leisha. That when it comes to the halachas of a Sotah, we compare the man, the husband, to the wife, the isha leish, and we also compare the wife to the husband. Now, the relevance of this comparison of the wife to the husband and the husband to the wife will be coming later over here in a few blot later towards the end of this pedic. We'll see over there. The Gemara will explain. But it's again, this is a different drasha. Tachas Isha is not coming to be marbe that both the Arusa and Shemeres Yavam don't drink the waters of the Sotah, but it's coming to be marbe this. Okay, now the Gemara has another more basic question, which is really a question on both opinions over here, that we have over here in this Braisa, psukim, that are being brought to teach me this din, that the Arusa and the Shemeres Yavam don't drink the waters of the Sotah. So the Gemara here is going to question the premise of this entire Braisa. Why do we need psukim to teach me that they are excluded from drinking the waters of the Sotah? It should be obvious without those psukim that it's impossible for them to drink the waters of the Sotah. Why is that? So the Gemara will explain here. Says the Gemara now, the only reason you're telling me that they don't drink the waters of the Sotah is because I have these psukim that were brought to exclude them. But if not for these psukim, I would say, Arusa Shasya. That an Arusa, her husband warned her, she would be drinking the waters of the Sotah. But the question is, how is that possible? When Rab Acha Bar Chanina, he came from the south, also he came, and he brought the following brisa with him that teaches this halacha that says, that the pasuk says, Mi bal'adei ishech. So the pasuk over there, one of the psukim by the Sotah, it says, Va'at kisatis tachas ishech, you went and you had a relation with someone else when you were married, V'chinitmeis, v'yitin ish bachas shchafta, mi bal'adei ishech. What does mi bal'adei ishech mean? So we learn from this, Mishakadma shchivas baal lebayil. The whole halacha of Sotah only applies if the husband was already married to her, but not say he was married to her. He already had a relationship with her, and only after that she went and had a relation with someone else, or she was secluded with someone else, then the halacha of the Sotah applies. That's what bal'adei ishech means, that she went away from her husband when she already had a relationship with her husband. But v'loi shekadma shchivas bayil lebal. But not in a case where she never had a relationship with her husband and now she had a relation with someone else before her husband, then there's no halacha of Sotah at all. So what's the Gemara's question? What's an Arusa? An Arusa, he just gave her a ring. But she goes back and she lives in her father's house. So the husband never lived with her, b'chlal. So the whole halacha of Sotah can't apply, because even if she had a relationship with this man, it's before her husband. So why do we need these special psukim over here to be marbe, or to exclude rather, to say that the halacha of Sotah doesn't apply? It anyways can't apply. So the Gemara answers, Rami Bachomer says, well, there is a situation that it could apply. It's possible, yeah, she's living in her father's house, she's only an oris, but the husband had a relation with her there in her father's house. She's not going to be on a suah yet. She's not married to her husband, because to be fully married has to be a proper mesira l'chuppah. He brings her into his room, into his house, and kavana to get fully married to her. The husband went visiting by his in-laws, and he had a relationship with her there, and she still is an arusa, but now the husband had a relation with her already. So if she goes and secluded with another man, the halacha of Sotah could apply. And on that we need a special pasuk to say that no, it still does not apply. Says the Gemara, okay, this answers regarding arusa. But now the chvasa, the similar thing you're going to have to say, gabi shemeres yavam, regarding the other case that we had a special pasuk to exclude that the halacha of Sotah does not apply, by the shemeres yavam. She was anticipating to get married to her yavam. So over here we're going to have to say what happened. That what happened over here is the yavam had a relation with her when she was in her in-laws' house. Right? Which basically, it's a funny lashon, beis chamia. But what it basically means over here is that the yavam had a relation with her before he got married to her. And only after that could the halacha of Sotah apply. That's what we're going to have to say. But the Gemara right away asks, and this is a point we just learned before, but then she's not called a Shemeres Yavam anymore. Ha, Shemeres Yavam Kadis La. If this Yavam had a relation with her before he fully decides to marry her, is she now called a Shemeres Yavam, that she's anticipating to marry this Yavam? Ishtem al Yasihi. If he has a relation with her, even if he just says, oh, it's just temporarily, and I don't want to become her yavam yet, doesn't matter. Once you have a relation with her, she becomes totally married to him. She's fully his wife. We mentioned this before. You don't need any mesira l'chuppah. Any kind of relation makes her fully his wife. And the Gemara here brings the source of this. The Ha'amar Rav says, Kana lakoil. Anytime the Yavam has a relation with this Shemeres Yavam, he acquires it completely. She becomes totally his wife, right? And even if this is done b'shegig, b'tos, doesn't matter. She becomes totally his wife. So the question is, what's going on over here? If he did not have a relation with her yet, so then the halacha of Sotah cannot apply because the husband was never living with her first. So therefore, there's no Indian of Sotah. You don't need any pasuk to prove that to me. Elamai, the husband did live with her, so she's fully his wife. So then why shouldn't the halacha of the Sotah apply there? So the Gemara answers Kishmuel, that here our Mishnah and this Braisa that's bringing the special pasuk to teach this to me is going to have to go according to Shmuel's opinion. Shmuel argued with this point that Rav said right here. The Amar Shmuel says, Loikana. If this husband, if this Yavam rather, has a relation with her, with his Yavama, and it's something which was just one time, and what it wasn't with the intention to marry her fully, he's not kind of her fully. Doesn't become his wife. Elo lidvarim or amurim beparsha. Only regarding certain halachas that the Torah clearly says by the Yavam, regarding that she becomes his wife. And what is that? So Rashi here says this is regarding halachas of inheritance, regarding the halachas of the Yavam. Now he's going to have to give her a get. Chalitza alone will not be enough to send her away. He's going to have to give her a get. For those two details, she's considered to be his wife. But otherwise, she's not going to be considered to be his wife. Okay, so therefore, we could say that the husband had a relationship with her, but she's still considered to be only a Shemeres Yavam. And therefore, we have these psukim that are teaching us that she's not going to have the halacha of the Sotah. Now the Gemara says on this, I'm going to finish the Inyan. But just to finish here off the Hemshech, what the Gemara explains now, based on this, now the Gemara has another question. So now, just before we see the next question of the Gemara, so now what comes out? What did we have over here before in the Gemara? Again, refresh our memory here, the machlokes between Rabbi Yoshia and Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yoshia said that a Shemeres Yavam does drink the waters of the Sotah. Only an Arusa does not drink the waters of the Sotah. A Shemeres Yavam does. Rabbi Yonasan said even a Shemeres Yavam does not drink the waters of the Sotah. Right? Now this Shemeres Yavam that we're talking about, what kind of situation is it? A Shemeres Yavam that the Yavam already had a relationship with her. Says the Gemara, maybe we should say, I hachi, based on what we're learning here, let us say, Leime, Rav, the Oma Kerab Yeshia, Rav that says that once this Yavam had a relationship with his Shemeres Yavam just one time, she becomes like his wife, so he is going like the opinion of Rabbi Yeshia. What does Rabbi Yeshia say? Rabbi Yeshia says a Shemeres Yavam drinks the waters of the Sotah. Why? Because the case is that this Yavam had a relationship with her already once, so in essence she's not a Shemeres Yavam anymore. In essence she's his wife. That's why Rabbi Yeshia says she drinks the waters of the Sotah. And Shmuel, and Shmuel that says that if the Yavam had a relationship just once with his Shemeres Yavam, that she still remains a Shemeres Yavam. She's still not his wife. So he's going according to what Rabbi Yonason says. Rabbi Yonason says a Shemeres Yavam does not drink the waters of the Sotah. Right, so we could say that the opinions of Rav and Shmuel are connected to these two opinions here of Rabbi Yonason and Rabbi Yeshia, whether she drinks the waters of the Sotah. So the Gemara answers, no, not necessarily. Amalach Rav will answer you and say, no. My opinion that once this Yavam had a relation with this Shemeres Yavam once, he becomes his wife, she becomes his wife, I can say that even according to Rabbi Yonason, we learn from the pasuk that she does not drink the waters of the Sotah. From the very fact that we need a special pasuk to come and exclude her from drinking the waters of the Sotah, Meklal the Ishtay Ma'al Yasehi. So from this itself, I see that she's his wife. If she wouldn't be his wife, why do I need a special pasuk to come and exclude her from drinking the waters of the Sotah? She's not his wife, Bechlal. Of course she doesn't drink the waters of the Sotah. Adarab, but Rav says the fact that now with one relationship she becomes his wife, and now on that I have a special pasuk that comes and tells me that still she doesn't drink the waters of the Sotah. So Adarab, Rav fits with the opinion of Rabbi Yonason. Rashi over here points out that obviously Rav could fit with the opinion of Rabbi Yeshia that says that she does drink the waters of the Sotah, even though Rabbi Yeshia, the Gemara before brought, that you have a special pasuk of ish to tell me that she drinks the waters of the Sotah, but the emes is, according to Rav, you don't need a special pasuk to say that she drinks the waters of the Sotah, because she's his wife. Elamai, that ish that the Gemara brought before, Rashi says it's only an asmachta, and really it's coming to teach me the halacha that the Gemara said before, to be marbe eishes cheresh and eishes shaita. Okay, now the Gemara explains Shmuel's opinion. Shmuel says, Ano da Amri afilu Rabbi Yeshia. I that say that if he has a relationship with her only once, she still remains a Shemeres Yavam, she's not his wife. So if she's not his wife, so you would think that Shmuel goes according to the opinion of Rabbi Yonason that she does not drink the waters of the Sotah. So he says, I can, or that she, again, Shmuel, that I can follow even the opinion of Rabbi Yeshia that says that she does, that, what does Rabbi Yeshia say? That she does drink the waters of the Sotah, right? So now the question is, how could Shmuel go according to the opinion of Rabbi Yeshia that she does drink the waters of the Sotah? According to Shmuel, after he had a relationship with her once, she's not yet his wife. Why should she drink the waters of the Sotah? So you would think that Shmuel only goes like Rabbi Yonason's opinion. Rabbi Yonason says that she does not drink the waters of the Sotah. So the Gemara explains the same point here again. The fact that I need a special pasuk to say that she does drink the waters of the Sotah, so that itself proves what Shmuel is saying, that she's not his wife, and therefore I need a special pasuk to say that nevertheless she will drink the waters of the Sotah. So Rashi again explains, obviously Shmuel could go according to Rabbi Yonason's opinion that says that she does not drink the waters of the Sotah because it's not his wife, and therefore she does not drink the waters of the Sotah. The pasuk before brought that according to Rabbi Yonason you need a special pasuk to teach me that she doesn't drink the waters of the Sotah. Why do you need a special pasuk? According to Shmuel, it's obvious. Should be obvious that she doesn't drink the waters of the Sotah because she's not his wife. So again, Rashi says that pasuk that the Gemara before brought for Rabbi Yonason is only an asmachta, and really it's being used out for what the Gemara brought before lahakish ish leisha for something else. So the point is that we see over here that both Rav and Shmuel that are arguing whether this one relationship makes them like a wife or not could go both according to Rabbi Yonason's opinion and Rabbi Yeshia's opinion whether she drinks the waters of the Sotah or not.